What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Season 2 of the Rentish Podcast. I'm Zach, here with my co-host, Patrick.
We're two rookies chasing the dream of real estate investing. In this podcast, we'll talk about property management, wild stories, and everything in between. We don't know it all yet.
But that's the point. We're learning as we go, just like you. We'll bring in the experts to educate and inform us, and we'll figure it out together. So let's laugh, learn, and dive into real estate side by side. I was waiting for you to ask me how I was, because last week's episode, you were so eager to ask me how my day was going.
Yeah, I don't really care today.
No, it's just totally flip-flopped. You're like, I don't really care how Zach's doing. Well,
No. I insist. How is your day?
Still pretty tired. I'm doing good. It's a lovely fall day here in Cincinnati. It's nice, and it's got that crisp, cool air.
Yeah.
But it's also nice and sunny. I'm just enjoying the last respite that we have of like the leaves being all pretty and it being like hoodie weather outside without needing to warm up my car for 15 minutes before I leave for work.
Was it Monday or Tuesday this week where it like snowed?
Yeah, Sunday evening. I went to go see Begonia.
Yes.
Great movie. Loved it. It was so fun. Leaving the movie, it was like 9 p.m. or something like that at night, and it was snowing when we left the theater, and I was like, this is just the most magical thing ever. Leaving the movie to the first snow of the year, it was just like quiet in the air, and I was like, this is great. But then, of course, the next day it was like snow everywhere. Yeah. Driveway was screwed.
No, I was pissed because I was like, we were supposed to have a deal where we had like 3 more weeks of fall, and I thought it was getting cut short, but luckily, fall rebounded.
I don't remember. Did Punxsutawney, what did that fool have to say about winter this year? Did he say that we were going to get an early winter? Is he the spring?
Yeah, it's like, isn't Groundhog Day
February 2nd? 6 more weeks of winter. Yeah. 6 more weeks. That's right. So we're not going to hear from Punxsutawney until...
He should clock in the fall, too, and let us know how much...
Well, we can't give the groundhogs everything. So it's like, well, if the groundhog predicts the spring, what animal are we getting to predict how long the fall... It's like, do we get 6 more weeks of fall, or do we get an early winter?
That's a good question. I'm down to create a new...
We just have to nominate an animal. Maybe
those animals are called meteorologists because they get it wrong.
You want to try saying that word again, buddy?
Meteorologist. The human animal.
I don't think you're pronouncing every syllable in that word, but
meteorologist.
There you go. You nailed it. Perfect.
Yeah.
Meteorologist.
I know my stuff.
Oh, yeah, you do?
Yeah.
That's producer Mercedes on the third mic, by the way, to get a proper introduction. Oh, well, it's going to be a fun episode. Well, we got 2 news articles today. Before we jump into the news that we're going to talk about, remember to follow the podcast on your podcast platform of choice. Email the show, questions@therentishpod.com. Give us a rating, give us a thumbs up, a 5-star review, a 10-star review, whatever your podcast service offers you to do. Just let people know that you like the Rentish Pod. Let a friend of yours know that we do this fun little show. Maybe they're into property management. Maybe they're a newer landlord. Maybe they're just wanting to get into the industry. Just let them know about the show. All right. Do we have a title for the news? What was it? Real estate Rundown. Roundup. Woody's Roundup. Come on. But anyway, Woody's Roundup. Or what's it called? Real Estate Rundown. Can we change the name to Woody's Roundup? I think that'd be funny. Today on the Real Estate Rundown, we've got 2 interesting articles that Patrick and I are going to dive into. Trump's 50-year mortgage plan. We're going to talk about the affordability of that, or if it's a trap. And then we're also going to go over the U.S. government reopening after the 43-day shutdown and what it means for housing. So, Patrick, are you ready to get into the rundown?
Yeah, sounds important.
Yeah, this is interesting. That when the producers handed us these articles, they were like, "We want these guys to talk about this." Really? I don't know. So we're gonna do our best.
I'm excited to hear our ideas and our opinions.
Sure. Right? Yeah, I'm sure.
Takeaways.
Yeah. All right. So Trump's 50-year mortgage plan: affordable or trap? The Trump administration wants to launch a 50-year mortgage option, which is the longest ever proposed for U.S. homebuyers. Why? To make monthly payments cheaper and widen access to home ownership. But the trade-off, of course, massively more interest paid over time and a much slower path to building wealth. Yeah. So, Patrick, 50-year mortgage. This has been in the news. This has been a thing. People are talking about it. This is not the first time you're hearing about it.
No, it was brought up to me earlier today, before, like right after lunch.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's so recent.
No, so, wait, what was I supposed to know before lunch?
I had heard about this over the weekend, and my friend group was naturally kind of talking about this.
Oh, shoot. No, I literally found out about it with the podcast.
Okay, well, then it's even better. So what was your initial reaction?
My initial thought is 50 years that's insane. Because like, let's say most people, let's even say the age that you buy your first property is, let's say, even early 20s, which is really early. Let's say early 20s.
Especially now.
Yeah, really early. Yeah. That means you're in your early 70s when you've got that paid off. It's like, what is the point building up this equity and like paying so much extra money in interest when you could probably just have used that money in rent payments alone, you know, the amount you're paying in interest and saved up. Yeah, I don't know. To me, it's, and like, just to play devil's advocate, I guess I appreciate that something is being tried. Like, you know, at least they're taking action. I don't know that this is the best course of action, but they're trying something, which I guess is maybe, I don't know.
It is kind of easy to be like, the knee-jerk reaction to hearing 50-year mortgages, like, that's silly. That's like, that you're paying so much extra money. You're going to be, I'm 31 years old, so I'm thinking about it from my perspective. I'm like, I'm in like my 80s when I pay this house off, and I'm like, that is unfathomable to me that I would ever pick an option like that. That being said, there are a lot of really fascinating, I think, devil's advocate conversations that you could have about this, especially in terms of just the way that homeownership could be changing in the next 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years. I mean, with inflation and rising costs and the unaffordability of homeownership and all these questions, it's like less people are buying starter homes to like get a home, increase their equity, sell that, move into another house. Someone could feasibly pay a lower monthly cost to own a property and just be like, well, this is my forever home, and just live there.
Yeah.
It's interesting. There's lots of interesting arguments, but let's dive into the article and see what they have to say about it. So housing affordability is kind of at a breaking point, is basically the overall kind of gist of the article. Mortgage rates still high. Home prices are continuing to climb, and first-time buyers are being pushed out of the market. So the plan targets the monthly pain. So like that big mortgage payment hitting your account, but still raises big questions about long-term cost. FHFA Director Bill Pulte, I think I'm pronouncing that right. Apologies, Bill, if I messed up your name. He's calling it, quote, a complete game changer, end quote. Which is just quite the quote. Critics say it's a financial quicksand. So here's what it does, Patrick. On a $400,000 home with 6.25 interest and 10% down, a 50-year mortgage could cut payments by around $250 a month, but you'd pay $378,000 more in interest compared to a 30-year loan, which is about 86% more over the entire life of the loan.
And already on a 30-day loan, or 30-year loan, you're paying so much in interest.
Right.
That to me says trap. more than like a actual game changer, to quote FHFA director.
Right. But, and I'll continue to just point of discussion to be like the devil's advocate argument here. Yeah. $250 a month in this current economy could be a lot for a family.
No, that is fair.
That's a grocery bill perhaps for 2 weeks. I mean, maybe more. It's like that could be, you know, the cost of paying for other utilities, necessities around the wintertime, back to school. You see a cheaper price on a sheet of paper. It's like, I can see that enticing a lot of people out there. All of those statistics put together, that's assuming the same rate. So in reality, 50-year loans would actually carry higher interest. So most of the early years, you're mostly paying interest and not building that equity.
Right.
Which is what people talk about all the time with home ownership. Here's why it's being proposed. It gives buyers a lower monthly hurdle and could expand access to homes, offers a political win on affordability without immediate spending. With home buyers getting older, median age is now like 40 for first timers. So the pressure to find a fix is kind of mounting and gaining traction.
I would be interested though to see, like, for example, like I'm a young person, I'm in my 20s, and like the first thing I'm thinking of is if these are the only two options, let's say.
Sure.
Renting and a 50-year loan, I'm choosing renting for the rest of my life.
Okay.
Like, I just feel like 50-year loan, you're paying so much in interest where I could just be paying that in rent and then build equity in other ways is my immediate thought. Because just like 30 years is already a long time, but adding an extra 20 years to that, I'm in the age group that would be like the audience for this. But I would be interested to see like what actually happens with this and how much.
It's going to be a fascinating world that we're about to move into.
Yeah, if this gains traction at all, if it gains a lot of traction, that, you know, maybe people feel differently. I'm really not sure.
Yeah, it'll be interesting too if it's like, we're going to get sci-fi with this. You ready for this? You ready to get sci-fi?
Let's do it.
what if the Einstein protege comes out and is like, we have discovered a way to move consciousness from the brain.
Why does he sound like Dracula?
We have moved consciousness. Dracula. Dr. Acula.
Oh.
But it's like, what if we're able to extend lifespan gets longer, so it's like a 50-year loan for a 20-year-old and gets them into the home market early, and then it's like, sure, maybe they're 70, but then the average lifespan of a human could be like 120.
Yeah, right. That's a really, really good point, Zach. I mean, the whole thing's really interesting, and part of me is like wondering, because I'm over. It's easy to like say that this is, just point out all the flaws here.
Oh, sure.
But like at the same time, it's just like things seem to be going out of control, like price wise. I mean, the median age being 40,
right?
That's a lot. We can all attest that housing prices have been going up and up and up and up. So it's just like, what? Like, do I have a practical solution? Like, even though I don't think this is one? No, I don't. So
nope.
I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
No, I generally agree. I mean, I think that for me in my personal situation where I'm at, given that base number of like $250, like looking at a $400,000 home, lowering the cost by $250 a month, that number is not enticing enough to me,
right,
to sign the deal with the devil.
Right.
So it's like, but if that number was even more, I don't know.
I guess to a certain extent, like if you're building like generational equity, if you wouldn't have been able to buy a house otherwise and you're just renting for the rest of your life, but this is the only other option you have, and then your kids are set with a fully paid off house.
Sure.
Like that's...
I think that's probably going to be one of the big enticing factors for a lot of people, is just the idea of like, well, the market's crazy now, but at least I'm securing this for my family in 50 years.
That is a very fair point. If like your only other, like you would never have been able to buy otherwise, I mean, I could see that.
Yeah.
So
it's definitely interesting. I mean, obvious controversial things: extends debt for 2 extra decades, delays wealth building and equity, puts borrowers deeper into long-term interest payments, and a lot of people see it as a gift to banks and not buyers. So low supply, high investor ownership, and unaffordable markets. This is basically dodging those root issues of what's going on. So it's basically getting out of the way of like finding an actual practical solution and saying like, well, we have this option. It's like, it's clearly going to be a test bed, right? But my prediction, just saying this, I bet these are popular.
You think so?
I think so.
Okay.
I think more popular than we expect them to be. I'm not saying that it's going to be like the new basis, but I can see this being enticing enough to people where they're like, what do I care that I'm paying more over time? Right now, I'd like to buy a home and not live in this crappy apartment.
Yeah.
I feel like there's going to be a lot of people that are going to make whatever justification they need to get to go through that. Just a thought. I know that a lot of my finance friends at Ben, if you're listening to this podcast, buddy, I'm sorry that I'm even like floating the idea out there, but if these kind of arguments are out there, we're going to talk about it.
Here's something, I just thought of this actually. Here's something that I would love to see as a positive from this. Let's just say in hypothetically, people who are renting long term and this, let's say the price that you would pay in this 50-year mortgage locked in, let's just do a number, $1,600 a month in the mortgage payment. I'm just choosing a number. And then let's say long-term, like right now, your price of rent is $1,600 and you don't foresee buying a house in the foreseeable future. You might want to shift over, well, like, yeah, let me just start paying this locked-in mortgage of $1,600 for the rest of my life. I'm paying all this interest, but I don't care because I'm just throwing my money away on rent, for example. And so they switch over to that. And
sure.
I guess the positive that I would maybe foresee from the situation is sort of like a competitive desire to lower the rent costs, like for landlords lowering the rent costs, thus making things easier for renters, because it's just
that's
like
a good point.
When you have this viable like 50-year mortgage solution that might be more enticing to a lot of renters to buy, it's just like, well, now what's the pro to renting?
Yeah.
Making it cheap, like making it more affordable. That way people are more attracted to renting. I could see that as a potential positive, but
I think it's a great point. Producer Mercedes, if you're able to do some Google searching and figure out how many Americans rent for the entire duration of their life. I don't know if that is like a quantifiable stat that you could find out there, but like, yeah, that is an interesting, compelling thing where it's like, there are people that probably just due to their situation, maybe if they want to do it, maybe that's the situation that they're in their life. People do rent forever.
Yeah.
Like that is a thing that happens. So if this can be the enticing option or be the motivational factor for a landlord to reduce the cost of rent because there is this other option available to them,
right?
I think that is definitely a positive.
And
I could see that being a positive.
It makes, I just thought of this like 2 minutes ago and I have no like data or, really evidence at all to back it up, but it makes sense potentially. I don't know.
So why would I pay my landlord $1,600 when I could just
do this,
pay the mortgage payment? And it's like, I'm probably never going to move, but it's like, this is all I need.
Yeah.
According to a multifamily executive, it said it's hard to determine the exact number, but a 2024 report found that 20% of renters expect to be lifelong renters, a 33 increase since 2021.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stop overpaying for property management software. Anago gives you everything: applications, screening, lease signing, rent collection for free. It's a powerful, full-featured platform trusted by thousands of landlords with no fees or contracts. Sign up at Anago.com today. That's INNAGO.com/podcast.
That's high.
Yeah, right.
I mean, that's a sizable chunk of renters.
Right, yeah.
20%. So what comes next, Patrick? You might be asking.
I was asking that.
This is still just a proposal. It's not a policy. So legal reviews are ongoing, and it may actually require congressional action. We're not sure what's going to happen if banks or buyers are going to necessarily adopt it. A lot of people are talking about it just kind of being a political soundbite. We don't really know if this is actually going to be a viable thing that a lot of people are going to do. We don't know if it's going to go through. And, we don't know if lenders are even going to offer that 50-year product without having that federal backing. So time will tell. I think this is a big time will tell sort of situation if this thing does end up going through. My personal opinion, I think it will. I think it's going to be, again, like I said, more popular than we expect, but probably not. People are going to look at it as being like just another form of debt accumulation, just more extreme. Who knows?
Yeah, I think I'm largely in agreement. I'm very interested to see, like, just, if this actually passes, like, what kind of splash it makes in its first, like, couple of years.
Yeah, the market is kind of all about the now. So it's like, I feel like a lot of people just figure, what am I doing to kind of like make the most of the dollar that I have in my pocket right now?
Right, yeah.
Rather than think like, well, there's a chance I could sell this home in 30 years for X amount of money and build that equity, when it's like, maybe not.
Right.
Maybe we'll all be living in spaceships by then. And then the housing market completely collapses. Sci-fi corner. New segment. We're going to do the sci-fi corner with Zach.
150-year-old humans living in spaceships. That's Zach's predicted future.
Yeah.
Next up, U.S. government reopens after 43-day shutdown and what that means for housing.
You read that title very seriously. I was like, I wanted to have like the news ticker behind you going on like.
I mean, it's a pretty serious episode. Not that we have unserious episodes, but like all things considered, like these are two very big articles,
very relevant articles, very in the big moment in time.
Yeah, but in case you didn't know, Zach, in case you hadn't heard, the federal government was shut down for 43 days. Did you miss it, or were you?
Did I miss it? I just, it was like day 32. I was like, what I miss is the government. I just really miss that government. No, I did hear about this.
Yes, they're back open after a record long 43-day shutdown. Congress passed a short-term funding bill through ending the standoff that froze essential services, including key housing and economic programs. So the good news is that the housing market operations are back online. The not so good news is that backlogs, delays, and missing economic data could impact everything from closing to mortgage rates. So let's talk about why that matters. The shutdown froze critical federal services that prop up the housing market. Some of these are flood insurance approvals were halted.
That's scary.
Yeah. USDA rural loans were paused. Economic reports were delayed, which helped guide interest rate decisions. So all that kind of was at a stop during the government shutdown. So now that the agencies are opening, the system will reboot, but it's not instant. So it's gonna take some time.
I like the article referring to the system rebooting like it's a computer. It's like, have you tried turning the government on and off again? Maybe try clearing its cache.
All right. So, what is resuming, you ask? Did I hear you ask that, Zach?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. I thought so. So the National Flood Insurance Program is back, underwriting over 90% of U.S. flood policies.
Yikes.
Yeah, I guess that's not. I mean, we don't live in a super like flood heavy area.
Well,
Ohio.
parts of Cincinnati are like if you're down by the river, but
yeah.
but yeah.
I mean, compared to like hurricane.
Yeah, exactly. Right. We're less
places.
impacted by the people like actually on ocean properties.
Right. So I guess that's not even something I've necessarily thought about,
No,
but like for
yeah.
a good portion of the states,
Yeah.
it could be a real real worry. So USDA loans and guarantees resume for rural home buyers, which basically I already kind of covered a lot of this.
Yeah.
Pending mortgage applications and real estate deals can finally move forward, and then federal economic data like jobs reports will trickle back in. But some reports like October inflation are permanently lost. Which is kind of crazy. Like there's just like a whole 43-day period where it's just like no data, didn't happen.
Yeah.
I'm not an expert on like data, obviously, so like I don't know how like what the data loss really means for interest rates and stuff.
You have to imagine there's going to be tons of residual effects, just kind of like whether or not you feel feel the impact of them on your day-to-day life. Certainly behind the scenes, there's going to be a lot of stuff going on. Government employees is a big thing. I'm curious to see how we kind of start hearing about. But I mean, that's not necessarily related to real estate and property management. But it's like there's a lot of real people that were impacted by the government shutdown. It's like it's going to be very curious to see what happens.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and speaking of that, with like with workers being in agencies being off, like or just like not functioning for the past 43 days.
Yeah.
Things like loan applications, that's something that there's weeks of pile up that like now it's back, and so they'll be able to make their way through it, but things are delayed for for folks.
Yeah, those notaries, they're gonna have to bust out their double stamp.
Yeah.
Where they go like this. They stamp all the papers like that. Yeah.
So with insurance evaluations and property policy processing, all of that will be backed up as well.
Yep.
And then buyers closing soon could still face delays with things like flood insurance and USDA approval.
Right. Yeah, in terms of the property management or like just the real estate aspect of it for me personally, it's like, yeah, I've been like kind of thinking about getting home buying and all that stuff, but still targeting next year. But it's like, boy, am I glad that I wasn't dealing with that process right now.
Oh yeah.
But I feel sympathy for anyone that was like in the closing process or anything like that. Like I'm sure right now, like the last month has been pretty hellish.
Right.
What about the impact rate on the Fed?
What about that, you ask? Well, to that question, I'd say
what about that?
The shutdown left the Fed flying blind. So September jobs report is delayed. October inflation and jobs data are likely gone for good. And then the Fed's next interest rate decision in December will rely on incomplete or non-existing data.
Interesting.
So the uncertainty may cause mortgage rates to hover as markets wait for signals on the Fed's direction. I mean, so I guess that makes sense. I mean, they're probably not going to until they gotta wait it out for new data, more recent data before they make any sort of interest rate decisions.
Yep.
Which I don't know if that's like necessarily a positive or a negative, because obviously if interest rates are would have gone up, but it's just for people buying now, it's maybe they caught a lucky break, or I don't know. That's just me thinking. Who knows?
I would assume that I don't know what the data is around like the interest rates around the winter time and the holidays too, but it's like. That's gonna be crappy.
Yeah.
Where it's like once they do finally get that data, and then things starts to settle out, and it's like, oh, happy Thanksgiving, and it's like your interest rate went up by 3%. It's like, I don't know.
That's a good point.
So it's like I don't know, and that's a time that people get hit hard all around the country, just in terms of like personal finances and other things going on. So higher utility bills with heating for the winter. So it's like. I don't know. Lots of stuff to keep monitoring there for the next month or two.
Right, and obviously this deal isn't a permanent fix. It's a short-term patch, but so the market can breathe for now. But another round of shutdown threats or policy fights in the government could just be weeks away. I mean, especially with the state of the U.S. government right now, there's really no idea where things are really gonna go.
Yeah, selfishly, for no real estate reason, I'm hoping that things are chill for a little while.
Yeah.
As someone that has two pretty important flights coming up, one in December, one in January, yeah. I'm a little concerned that I'm gonna have to find like contingency options.
Yeah.
Because government shutdown affecting airports and airport travel and the reduction in flights, like that's an absolutely horrific thing that people have had to deal with.
Yeah.
The residual effects of something, the snowball effect of something. It affects more than just the real estate market, but it's definitely one of those big things that people need to concern themselves with.
Yeah, no, for sure. So I'll leave our audience with those thoughts. Zach, do you have anything to add?
Nothing else really relevant to add. I think you did a great job. Well, that's been another episode of the Rentish Podcast. Thank you all for listening to the show. Thanks for hanging around with Patrick and I as we talked about the real estate news that you need to know about. Follow us on social media at The Rentish Pod. Email questions@therentishpod.com with your feedback or topic suggestions or questions for the two of us. Like and subscribe on all podcast platforms that are out there. Give us a rating, give us a review, leave us a comment. Tell your friends about the Rentish Podcast if you have a friend or a family member that's into, maybe you're sitting around the table eating your turkey this Thanksgiving holiday and you're like, Uncle Jim, he manages a property somewhere. I don't know. And it's like, maybe he likes the Rentish. Tell him about it. But yeah, until next time, I've been Zach, that's been Patrick, and we'll see you guys next time. The Rentish Podcast is recorded in Cincinnati, Ohio. Hosted by Patrick Giro and me, Zach Rottello. Produced by Musei Gebermeskel and Charlene Mulchandani. Edited by Elliot Mongenis. Theme song by me, Zach Rottello. What if you had a network of mentors and peers to guide you through your toughest challenges? Cohorts is a private network of experienced investors who share lessons, insights, and support at every stage of growth. Whether you're managing 10 million or 1 billion in assets, Cohorts helps you build smarter and avoid costly mistakes. Learn more and join the community at joincohorts.com/podcast.